Welcome back to our live show. It's coming out now on Sheffield Live TV. Paul Heckingbottom, the Sheffield United manager, is with me in the studio. If you missed any of part one, it'll be on my YouTube channel later this evening, as will indeed be part two. And I've no idea where that particular one is going. We were chatting before the break about manager or head coach, and I think from your description you're probably manager because you're involved, you say heavily involved in most things at the football club, but you're most at home where, would you say?
Yeah, on the grass with the players. I love Saturday afternoons. I love being with the players, like on the grass. That's what, listen, when I started coach, it was to be, I wanted to be like an under-18s coach, you know. Back to that time at Man United, I had Eric Harrison and Pop Robson, and they were big influences on me. Pop, actually, I signed for Sunderland and he actually came to Sunderland then, so I was in the reserves with Pop. So yeah, and you know what, how influential they are, not only at that moment in time trying to help you get established, but habits, getting you started in the professional game. And I just felt I had a lot to give to those young lads, you know, and that's what I wanted. Quickly that sort of changed as you're doing that. I sort of got forced into doing the under-21s at Barnsley, then stepping up in caretaker a couple of times, changed the manager, then staying with the first team, actually doing both roles. So yeah, it was constant coaching. But it was only when I really took over myself and was, you know, given the games that I thought, oh, you know what, yeah, having the say and having the responsibilities, yeah, I enjoy that.
You do. It doesn't keep you awake at night?
No, I can sleep. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that's not in common with a lot of your colleagues, is it?
No, I think everyone gets different things out of it. I enjoy the highs and the lows because there's nothing makes it. One of the biggest lows was a last-minute goal Aberdeen scored against us at Hibs.
Yeah.
At 1-1. I never coming back on the bus, but I remember saying at that moment in time to staff, nothing makes you feel like this. Enjoy it, you know. We just and likewise with the highs, it doesn't, because it's sort of exaggerated. From playing, it's great, but when it's actually your head on the block, if you like, or your responsibility, everything's magnified. Of course, it is.
But without the lows, you can't have the highs, can you?
No, and that's it. It's like winning a playoff final. You know, if it was, everyone says, yeah, if it was guaranteed, it's the best way to go up. If it was guaranteed, you wouldn't have the adrenaline rush. You wouldn't have the highs or the lows.
Well, you've experienced that as a player and a manager.
Yeah.
Going there and doing that. And you know, Sheffield United. We're going back now to November 2021, and you're appointed full scale this time. Was it helpful to you that you'd worked for the club previously and you'd seen players at the younger end as well as those at senior?
Yeah, obviously knew the younger end, but I did know the senior boys as well.
Yeah.
Because the majority were in the group who I'd worked with previously. So yeah, I think, like I said, from my point, I think that helped the players because they knew me. What I expected, you know, that I'd have the back, but I'd expect good things. But from my point of view, I think it helped. I was already massively invested in the club, and I've heard certain managers speak about this, and I think the best way to describe it is, you go, if I'd have been brought in and that was my first day, of course you want to be successful, but I was invested in more than that. I was invested in all the staff, the academy, the young players, the players who I'd felt for at the start of the season with the struggles. So I already was massively invested in the club, and then that, yeah, it's a different feeling, a totally different feeling. You've got to, if you're new through the door, you've got to develop that, and it comes over time. But when you're managing, it's almost like the responsibility takes over or the role takes over. Whereas, yeah, in this there's a lot of care in there as well already, which for me, I think that's a real good thing. It
was slightly unusual looking from the outside to hear a club say, well, we're not going to judge this fella on results. We believe in him. We want to develop our own players, and it's a long-term job, which to some extent would have been music to your ears. But you're also a realist and a pragmatist, aren't you? In terms of what.
Well, I go back to that, and we'll laugh a bit about it now. But if you remember, there was only me sat at the table saying, "No, this season's not over. No, it's about winning. It's about winning." You know, and I had a big feeling about last season because I knew the players, the quality we got, and I actually thought it was a real good opportunity last season to have a shot, and so it proved we were close, and it would have been fantastic if we'd have done it, but we didn't, so we start again, because it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any easier, so I saw it as a big opportunity that season, and like I said, I didn't want to dampen expectations as such. We've just been speaking outside, haven't we, about getting everything aligned. The best clubs, it's when everything aligned. If the ownership's objectives are aligned with the manager, with the coaching staff, with the players and the fans, the fans need to know what and feel part of it and get that. So yeah, I didn't want to dampen. I didn't want the fans coming thinking, "Oh, we're not bothering this season." No, we were, and I think the players' performances showed the fans. I think the players' energy showed the fans that they were having a go, and you know, we want to put a team out there that they can enjoy watching.
And yet there were low expectations probably when you took over, and you lifted those, and sometimes that can rebound on a manager setting your sights that high.
Yeah, but I believed it. Like I remember Jackson, were you a bit brave or foolish? I don't know which one he was saying, but no, I believe that. You've got to do that. You've got to try and win every game, and it'll change. And I wouldn't, if I did think things were different this season, I'd say it. Yeah. But we've got as good a chance as anyone to be up there competing for the top 6, so we'll try.
Well, you're still top, you know, albeit on goal difference from a couple of teams. It just shows how close it is, and it strikes me you're pretty level-headed. You have been. I've spoken to you many times after victories this season. You haven't got carried away, and you haven't been extreme either following the last 3 games. So how important is that to keep that kind of balance on things?
Yeah, good. I think I have been okay at that over the time doing it.
It's not come naturally to you, that particularly?
No, because emotion. I think emotion's massive. You've got to use it. For me, the dressing room was so important before the game, half time in particular, because I feel you can still have an influence. But then after the game, so if you're upset, you've got to be upset. You've got to be. If you're happy, you've got to be happy. But I think what you have to do in my position, or any position, if you're in charge of a group of people, is be really clear what makes you happy and what makes you angry. Because if you're reacting off instinct and you're not in control, you know, your spur of the moment, those are the strongest messages. So if you're not consistent with that, you're going to struggle. So, yeah, I'm pretty clear on what gets me angry, and I'm happy at what gets me angry, because I think it helps the players give the best.
Do you believe in getting it all out there and then following a game?
Not always, because I don't think it's always the correct thing. I think I probably have done, but I don't think it's always the correct thing. In fact, I didn't the other day, actually. Macca stopped me at
Stoke?
No, the home game, QPR. Yeah, because it had been said, and then it was said in a different way after, so...
He reined you in, did he?
Yeah, but I didn't realise something had already been said, but yeah, it's what you miss, so regardless, listen, it's a tough job, everyone knows the stats there, everyone knows it's a tough job, but you've got to try and enjoy it, and that means, like I said, I try and be really clear on what's going to tip me over the edge, good or bad, but it don't mean I always have to share that.
Although we can see it sometimes on the touchline, but that's
bad
usually with referees, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which will bring me on to something else. Time wasting and feigning of injuries. And I know, because I read in the Sheffield Star website today, that you're meeting Kevin Friend from the PGMOL tomorrow, I think, to talk about that, which it's good that they're taking your complaint serious. I guess you can't be alone, can you, with this?
No, it's always been said, and this is the thing, I wanted to be clear, because we're top of the league, it's not me moaning and saying we're getting out and trying to find an excuse as to why we're struggling at the bottom. So I think it's important that everyone gets that. But because we started suffering it last year a little bit with the home form and teams, and I get teams might want to slow us down, they're going to find ways to stop. But the problem is it's not being managed properly, and they think it is. That's my point. So when you've got, you know, a team taking over 30 seconds for every goal kick on average, and they've got 19 goal kicks, big chunk of time. Add that to throw-ins, free kicks, where one free kick was like 65, 70 seconds. It adds up. and they end up having control of the ball more times when it's out of play than they do when it's on the pitch. And doing that as a referee to a goalkeeper does nothing, and then you book someone in the 85th minute, the game's gone. If doing that, stop your watch. So all you have to do is stop your watch. Guess what? The ball will come in quicker. If it doesn't, we'll have the 24 minutes added time, you know? So for me, it can be managed, but I don't think it's been highlighted just how bad or how prevalent it is and how much time is wasted. People pay the money to watch a game of football. And I'm a big, you hear me say it all the time, and maybe it is something that don't make me the best manager, but I want to enjoy the game. I do want to enjoy the game. I want to enjoy watching my team. I want to enjoy watching a game of football. I do not want to be on the sideboard. So that's the reason I'm saying this. It'd help us at home, for example, if a team's going to slow us down. Of course, but it's the bigger picture I'm talking about. It's something that we can easily sort out across the game. We're always going to debate what's a free kick or what's a penalty. I get that, and I'm not complaining about things like that. That'll always come down to someone's interpretation, but that's easy. It's time. You just stop the watch, you know. So we do have that. We in the game we've had like, stoppages. I'll throw it. The official stoppages, goals, bookings, substitutions, injuries, accumulated over 13 minutes, and we only got 7 minutes added time. So again, people think 7 minutes, that's a lot. Well, no, it should have been almost double that, you know. So
if referees add that proper time on, as they should, in my view, then teams won't do it.
That's my point. You don't have to extend the game.
Yeah.
We don't want a 2-hour game.
No.
We want a better product. That's it.
But it's not just your club, because I often see, dare I say it, Sheffield Wednesday at home as well, and a similar thing happens over there.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's not me complaining. I think it's important. That's why when I was speaking to the guys today, it's clear, well, no, we're top of the league. We're not. Well, it's not like me making an excuse because we're at the bottom.
You couldn't have done it if you'd have been lower down the table, could you?
I maybe would, but it comes out, people say the different things about, you just want an excuse. So, no, I'm not. But we just actually collected a bit of information to share, to try and highlight this, that we can do something about.
Something else I was going to ask you about was, I think that it's called Favourite Things, or you've called it Favourite Things on the inside. Which is attempting to get people to open up on their private lives. Something similar I remember talking here to Paul Warne about during his time as a Rotherham manager, because he was quite big into this. So what benefit are you finding from this so far, and what are you expecting the players to do?
So it was Jack's idea when we first started, because we're big on, whenever been coaching or whichever team, you've got to live it. It's all right, everyone talks, there's buzzwords flying about everywhere. I'm saying I've got to be clear on what gets me angry or happy, but you've got to live it. If you're setting standards, you have to live them. If I'm letting you away with something, Alan, the state of them shoes and they should be spotless.
Well, yeah, you're probably right.
Then we're not living it, are we? Do you know what I mean? So we've got to live it all the time. But so the big thing when we speak to players and how we work, it's always want the ball. If it's players, if it's staff, it's always test yourself. Always work hard. No excuses and show respect. That's it. But we've got the best job in the world. Enjoy yourself. So joy. It's always joy. Have a good time. And Jack said, well, how do we live that? And it was a presentation. So we started getting lads to present 2-3 minutes on, and staff. So 1 week it players, 1 staff.
Have you done yours yet?
I've not done mine. Mine will be winning. Mine will be the lads making tackles or scoring goals or. No, I've not done mine, but it's been good. Yeah. We've lost us way this year with it a little bit in terms of we've had other things taken over. So, yeah, I already know who's doing next week's.
Right, and you're genuinely finding out things that you didn't know about guys that you work with every day.
Listen, lots of reasons. You're finding things out. I think it's good investing in each other. It's something I'm huge on. Staff and players. It can't be just a job. It's a lifestyle. It cannot be just a job. It's like I said, I care. I care about the club. You always care, but you get attached to your players. They're like, regardless, Bill's not 10 years younger than me, but I see him as one of my boys. Do you know what I mean? And you want to protect everyone. So in my position, you're invested, so you do anything for them. I want everyone to feel like that, with the teammates, with the staff, with the players. So that's part of it. And also, there's a lot of them uncomfortable getting up there. They don't like it. And that's the other part. It's yeah, you should be stretched. You should be doing things that's testing you out a little bit, and that's the other part of it.
Yours will be family. I know family's huge in your life.
Yeah. When I see them now, yeah.
When you see them, I mean, you've had a long
it's
day.
funny.
You've had a long day today. You've
Yeah.
done training, a press conference, and in here until 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I daren't say come across the road for a pint at the end, because if your family's watching or your wife's watching, she won't
She'll know
forgive
I'll
you
say
for that. But you know, it's good for them to open out like that, and you hope to get a benefit. Have you got any hobbies, by the way, yourself?
Yeah, you've not got time for them now, so yeah, I have. I always used to play golf, and I've enjoyed playing again this year. When I've previously managed, I haven't really enjoyed it as much. My brother had gone mad with me. So, are you actually playing with us today? Or, you know, if my phone comes out, or he'd. But I've actually enjoyed it this year when I've played a few times, and switched off and actually enjoyed the exercise, the walk, the game, the competition.
Yeah. Well, go back to Sheffield United and your team that you must be proud of this season. You know, they've obviously had different hurdles. You've got more different hurdles to come, with Blackpool at home, then Norwich the following week. Yeah, and you've managed to sign 2 or 3 really outstanding young players on loan. But it strikes me they've bought into the what you expect off the ball as well, and that's something I think you're pretty big on, isn't it?
Yeah, listen. No, the new signs aren't at the level I want off the ball still, but in terms of their application, the desire, the mentality to do it, top. Yeah, and it wouldn't be any different, you know. So yeah, delighted with them, but we can improve them a hell of a lot. You know, we want to be so well drilled in those areas. I want to make it black and white without the ball. With the ball, there's so much more freedom, and we led on principles and things with the ball. We encourage certain things. You know, James McAtee, for example, I can't tell him what to do with the ball. He's a far better player than I was with the ball. And I want players like Ilham and like Maka who can do these things off the cuff. I'd just be putting the reins on them. Yeah. So much more principle based.
Reader and Doyle as well.
Yeah, much more principle based with the ball. Without it, yeah, we expect the work ethic, we've got it. We expect the desire, we've got it. It's just the detail of how we want to do things which they'll improve on.
Within a framework,
yeah.
within a structure,
yeah.
that you're seeing that you, and of course that's a part of the game that they're able to learn far more from playing regularly in the Championship than they would be at their clubs sitting on the
bench or in the youth games, and it's a different type of football. It's a much bigger test, and like I said, fans want the 3 points. I want the 3 points. We've said how cutthroat it is. It's results business, you know, and it's just demands, and they'll go back better players for it, better players for being pushed and hassled and, you know, cajoled into giving the best every day. And if they don't, then they're probably not going to get to the level that they could potentially get to now. You know, when you talk about potential, it's great, but you come to a certain age and no one uses that word anymore. So you have to be good enough or not, you know.
What's great is that you seem to have, you know, a number of, I won't use the word individuals because I know that you're trying to shape them into a team, but players of outstanding ability can win a football match in a flash, a second, and, you know, you've maybe got 3 or 4 in that category, whereas previously, I think you were relying pretty much on Morgan Gibbs-White in that respect. I don't know whether that's fair or not.
No, I think he just stepped up, but we still had, this is the thing, Morgan was shown he was playing with, you know, trying things, a little bit of flair, and we gave him that freedom, and we gave him that freedom because he worked just as hard as everyone else to win the ball back.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest way to win a game is just being so strong without the ball, and you've been able to smother teams, and we could do that. And that relentless pressure or mentality, if you like, just creates opportunities, and that's a big thing. So you can be the biggest talent in the world. If you're not going to work, you're not going to play. You know, if you can't run or don't want to run, you won't play, because you're letting yourself down, you're letting the team down, you're letting the fans down. So we expect the hard work. But like I said, we've got some good players with a lot of talent who are willing to do that and work hard. So you can get that balance right, and hopefully, as players keep improving and we get all this competition back for places back when the injuries come back, That'll be the type of headache that I like, and be able to put teams out and make changes within a game to just get better.
You ever sleep on it and wake up with a different selection in your mind on a Saturday?
No,
morning?
I try and, like, for Saturdays, it's Thursday night now, so I like to know the team before we leave on a Thursday.
And
so
you know the team?
Yeah.
The players don't, or do?
No, the players don't.
When do the players find out?
Generally tomorrow. Yeah, sometimes it's the day of the game. If you're waiting on injuries, or you want to, keep people guessing, or there may be a dilemma over a certain thing. You want to see how someone reacts in training, because he's big on that. We do use that. So yeah, that's another way you say how would you like to be organised and planned, and then.
I know you don't want to talk about injuries. You've talked enough about injuries. Sadly, Sander Berge and also Jayden Bogle are sidelined until after the World Cup. And that's a fine line for a manager, isn't it, talking about injuries, because you don't want to give anybody an excuse, do you? In your team, or
no injury? I don't want to talk about injuries because I don't want to give the team away, or, like, you know what I mean. Yeah. I want to keep people guessing as to what. So Happy, for example, Blackpool will know. Obviously, Sander's out, Jayden's out now. So sometimes I purposely don't give it away, But
you did this time.
yeah, I did. Sanders, like I said, we all saw the incident.
Yeah. The penalty that you should have had. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 pulls back on his shirt as he goes. But this is the kick in the teeth. I say I'm not going to argue at the penalty. It's up to someone to give it or not. But one of our starters is out now for a long time with a serious injury. Luckily, he doesn't need an operation because the ligaments around it are stable, so we can work that way. And listen, he may be in and around it for that Cardiff game before. We'll see how it progresses. But just with that break of the 4 week of the World Cup, he's going to be back afterwards. And the same with Jayden, because he's had to have that little bit of
That's a
metal
blessing in
removed.
disguise, in a way, isn't it?
Well, it is when we get, we've got to get there first.
Yeah. Looking back over your management career, you were saying earlier that you might have been swallowed up without the experiences, the hardening experiences you've had. Which has been the most difficult sort of scenario you've had? I mean, I'm thinking Leeds at a time when there was no real stability.
No. Leeds weren't. We were honest with each other. You try. And I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I loved it there, and there's some good people there. I got Andre, and I still speak to him now, at a time when he was fresh into it, and how we were going about it wasn't right, but I either could accept it and fail, or try and change it and fail. But potentially change it and then get that little bit of success. I tried to change him and get points across, and it didn't work. But listen, I wasn't stupid. We knew what was happening. I knew what was happening. And like I say, it'd be wrong of me to talk about it because we don't do it. But like I say, it's a job which is, as you've alluded to, there's always things going off that people don't know about or see, and there's so much more to it than the grass and the Saturdays. But the one thing, like I say, and that's why I always say it, I need to be, if I'm going to do this job, I need to be in control of the performance environment. I need to, that's mine. If people interfering with that, there's going to be a problem, because they're either undermining me, giving the wrong message, diluting a message, and I'm responsible for that. Yeah,
and you're in a climate now where you feel you most certainly are, and you can influence what you need.
Yeah, I just think that's it. You can't. What more can you actually expect? It's not. You're coming to work for someone. If the owner wants to put money in, he puts money in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. If he wants to get someone else to sign his players, he does. That's fine. But you brought me in to deal with this, so let me deal with it.
Finally, of the many managers that you've played for, any particularly stand out as setting the right example for you as a manager that have had traits that you've taken into it?
No, I don't think so. Just because I think I've heard people say it, and you've got to be yourself. You can't pretend. Although sometimes you're at work, you're putting on not an act or a show, but you've got to deliver things. So you are performing, but you've got to be yourself. I think Bobby Saxton up at Sunderland, who was assistant manager to Peter Reid, certainly from a coaching point of view, something I'm really, really big on is clarity and getting a point across. And I'm just a big believer, if you can get the point across in it's in as few words as possible. I don't have to stand there and show off and show how many things I understand and know, and then everyone in this room's taking a different thing from what I've said. It's to get everyone in this room taking one thing, and if you all then deliver that one thing, we've made an improvement. So he was really good on that clarity, and that's something that stuck with me like through coaching.
Well, you've been very precise here, and we've understood you loud and clear on your messages and your managerial philosophy and your philosophy as a player before that. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, as I will again on Saturday with my TalkSport hat on after the Blackpool game, which will also be a pleasure, hopefully, and hopefully the referee has got a watch that he can add time on, eh?
I might do it on the side, you might see me on the side do it.
We've played enough stoppage time here as well. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.